morning, good morning. Shirt. Take that off. Hello, Linda. Just wait and see if anybody else wants to join on. Seeing apparently nobody works these days, you know. Apparently everybody's a grifter. Mob went too long home after far-right agitators call to picket politicians. A strange one. Widespread condemnation as masked men protest at N.I. Justice Minister's house. We'll get to the mosques in a wee minute. A far-right agitator called for protests to be moved to politicians' offices shortly before a mob showed up at the East Belfast home of Justice Minister Naomi Long. Stephen Baker from East Belfast appeared in court on Wednesday charged with damaging a bus shelter. Shortly after leaving court, Baker posted a video online which he urged followers to protest at a hotel where migrants are housed, adding, "We have to keep the pressure on. There's other places it needs to happen to, like politicians' offices. Maybe that's where it should go next." Right? Now, these papers are very contradictory in what they say. They'll say one thing and then later on in the report, they'll say something different. Hello, Elaine. How are you? So I'm just starting off slowly here just to let some more people get in as to what's going on here. You know, the manipulation in this country is unreal. Whether it's from politicians or even people on the streets. It's unreal. Now, let's just clarify one thing here. The paper's trying to lead out that I call for this and I call for that. Listen, I call for protests all over the country. I call for protests at every one of your politicians' offices. Because when you want to dress democracy up as hypocrisy, you want to run about like the Fabian Society, wolves in sheep's clothing, then yeah, that's right. The people have every right to protest. And if you're not coming out to speak to the people, here's the thing. For years, you have never spoke to the people. You won't come and speak to the people. You would rather have your wee left-wing fuckwits in the media come out and have a go at us concerned residents. Now, let's get one thing straight. The crowd that were at Naomi Long's house on Wednesday night at the protest, they're not my group. That's just another group that's formed up itself. You know, I put my face at the front of every one of my protests. I show my face. And as regards to the mosques, I'm looking at the paper here now, and I don't see any pictures of people wearing masks. Maybe a couple of hoods are being worn. You know, well, I wear my hood at all the protests, but that's not a mask, is it? Nathan, you can't just come into comments with a suggestion like that, mate, and just go, right, let's go, that's it, let's go. You know, let's be consistent. Let's be consistent with the protests. I mean, yeah, I called for the office stores to go to the politicians' offices. Yeah, it did. And last Wednesday, I was at Naomi Long's office with a dedicated crew of people that support and follow me. You know, most of the ones up there at Naomi Long's house weren't with me last Wednesday. So it shows that protest groups are starting to form off their own accord. Not just because of me. Who was I? Maybe you can refer to me as the gaslighter. They just come out at the start and says you need to be doing this day in, day out, week after week. Let's stop with this 5-6 week mentality of protesting which gets you nowhere. Got nobody, absolutely nowhere. What did I do? I took this on and says I will face all the authorities that want to take away our freedom of speech, our right to speak freely, our right to expression, our right to think. We have a right to think, folks. And anybody that wants to come along and stop that, well, they are being coercive manipulators. By doing these write-ups in their papers in the Belfast Telegraph, you are coming out at me very strongly here. And don't be surprised if you see yourselves in the dock very soon. Okay? Now, see down here, Allison, Morris, you seem to have kept your wee report a wee bit tidy-ish in what you were saying. But at the same time, let's see. You want to try and remind people about trouble and violence at politicians' doors, and you're also referring in your report, Allison, about Johnny Adair's C Company fired a rocket-propelled grenade at Sinn Féin's West Belfast office. I mean, without sounding too fucking loyalisty, maybe Johnny Adair knew exactly what Sinn Féin were going to do, because all the Irish people now see quite clearly what Sinn Féin are doing. They're backstabbers, they're turncoats. You've turned on your own people. Michelle O'Neill, you were just a puppet grown for that job. The rest of you have all been programmed. Here's the thing. I used to be a security controller in Queen's University. My office with 45 cameras was in the student union. So whenever the likes of Jerry Carl or Martin McSwinnis would have came along to, let's say, promote themselves in their wee political moves, political ways, political innuendos against others, I would have been there. I was security, so I got to see these wee pricks run about trying to coerce our younger education. And this is in a university, by the way. So these people would have came and held events to try and coerce the youngsters. So that's what they're doing. You look at all the university campuses over in America, they're now getting their funding withdrawn because they are staging and hosting far left protests. Okay, and here's the thing. How come you, Allison Morris, are not coming out and addressing the far left aggressive tactics in their protests? How come none of you, including you in the Alliance, Naomi Long, Sinn Féin's bootlickers, that's what your party is, you're just the bootlickers of Sinn Féin, because you're doing everything that they tell you. And I watched the video this morning there of a 90-year-old who had put something up on a Facebook post, getting arrested by the police. The police calling to their door to intimidate a 90-year-old woman. And make no mistake, we'll talk about intimidation and bullying in this article also. So what about the intimidation and bullying that judge sat in the magistrate's court with me? All that bullying, intimidating me, forcing me into the dock against my free will. And for what purpose? I'm a noble man. I'm an honourable man. I say what I have to say. And if people don't like it, get off my fucking page. Don't be sitting squandering and watching all my videos and then trying to think of ways to slobber about me. You're no more less of a narcissist than some of the other fuckers running about. Especially in Stormont, the biggest narcissist this country has ever seen. Now, while I don't advocate for interfering in people's private lives, what you also need to understand, you politicians, is the people are now coming to your doors because of your lack of respect to your constituents. You will not hold consultations. You will not talk about your ponzying down to these globalists' agendas. Well, you want to persecute your own people. And me, I mean, now I know how Jesus felt. I know how Jesus felt back in the day when he was persecuted by the wrong ones. Those that called themselves Judaism, those that followed Judaism back in the days and persecuted Jesus. Well, it's now starting to happen again, because what happened when Jesus walked into the temple and flipped up the table upside down on the money changers and told them that no longer will this be a den of thieves? When I walk into the magistrate's courts, it doesn't really seem no different, okay? So between the papers, the police, and now what seems to be the courts, bullying, trying to intimidate. But you can't intimidate or bully someone that's put fear in the trunk, that's put fear out. What is there to fear? We're all going to die anyway. If I'm going to die, it's going to be for something valor, something of valor. So anyway, I mean, I'm just sitting looking at this here paper here. I actually think it's a bit of a joke, the way this Belfast Telegraph's trying to come out at me. Again, they mentioned something about a damaged bus stop. What fucking damage? You just keep trying to direct the courts. You just keep trying to direct these people in the courts with your reports, trying to slander me. What is it? I mean, you have to... You have to try and do me for criminal damage on a bus stop, and I'm just trying to notify people of my petition to the king. These people don't understand what they're actually doing. You people don't understand what the police are actually doing. And they actually still have people coming out and trying to ridicule me about what the courts had said. I'm standing on the ground. Those people are trying to ridicule me. You don't have a clue what's going on here. You do not have a clue. Saying that I'm afraid to walk into the dock. It's not that I'm afraid. I know exactly what it represents. I'm not a criminal. And I know I have a right to stomp my ground. And I know what the judge is doing is wrong. And if he doesn't know it, yeah, you're going to find out. Yeah, so it's just connecting again. What's the point in putting in Johnny Adair's attacks on offices way back, when was it, in 1994? What's the point in that? And that was just before, I'll not even talk about what happened in 1985 going on. No, so Allison Morris, I mean, is your record squeaky clean? Have you been a good girl all your life? Because I've seen some condemning reports on the kind of woman that you are, okay? Now, I'm not out here to cause issues and cause antagonization, as you like to call me, an agitator. And if I was an agitator, a real agitator or influencer, believe me, believe me, things would not be happening the way you see it. Thank you, Jeffrey, bro. Thank you. Oh yeah, that's another thing, by the way. It's like the paper says they're coming out. Protest urged by far-right agitator hours before mob targets pool. Right? Or targets longs home. Okay. Well, last night I got 30 alibis. I was sat in a bar playing pool when that protest was going on. So again, it was nothing to do with me. I didn't post it. You know, nobody contacted me and says this is what we're going to do. It's like, you know, so like I say, the protest groups are starting to form of their own accord. Nothing to do with me. I just set the standard. I just set the bar out there and says this is what you need to be doing. And people's listening. Good. Never went down to a doc in my life, told them I don't believe in their Bible, so I can't swear on the Bible and that doc. Keep fair, I mean, you know the law. Same as the man that doesn't believe in God, didn't stand in the dock, swear in the Bible. They tried to push the fear. PSNI. Exactly. Oh, good raising, Jackie Foster from Columbus. Nice to meet you. I was actually just talking about how the campuses and stuff all around the place are being infiltrated by these lefty ideologists. And make no mistake about it, folks. I mean, what they're doing here in this paper, they're getting out of their way. It shows that they're struggling. They're struggling to pen down what they call far right, or what I call just concerned people that know this government's corrupt. And it has been all my life, so it's not going to change now. And the fact that you have a crime correspondent coming in and putting in her 2 bobs worth. A thief in the night, some might say. Oh, and by the way, I mean, just to let you see, and for all those ones that call me a grifter, I'm sitting on my work phone. I like to do a bit of work sometimes, you know. Just to let you see what I'm looking at, you know. Protest urged by far-right agitators hours before mob targets long. If picket outside home was really justified, why did they wear masks? Okay, right. Where's the masks? Oh, look, there's a hoodie. There's a hoodie. Where's the masks? Oh, and look over here. Police ombudsman will not face charge after challenging a complex probe. Public confidence needs rebuilt after lengthy process, claims DUP man. After lengthy process, well, I don't think there's any rebuilding any confidence in the people after what you've done with this whole protocol, after what you've done with squandering the renewable heating incentive that Arlene Foster would have spoke about in 2012 and then tried to push out there into us when she got into office. You know, sometimes you just have to go back, folks, to really see what they're doing on their agenda. And I'm a sipper. I sip my tea. I don't gorge it down. I like to take things in. You know how the Holocaust happened? It's because the people obeyed instead of standing up. And he was going to advertise every Wednesday with posters on the bus stop. Thank God I didn't. I'd have been in court review, but it's alright for them to wreck bargains and stick stickers. Well, here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, I suppose I can't even really say it, but let's just think Article 14, Article 10, the ECHR. Things like that there. Things that these courts and these politicians are all supposed to abide by, but they don't. That's it, Jeff. I mean, you know I'm not afraid to get in and get stuck in. Nathan, you coming in here to criticise me, you thought I don't buy papers. They're fucking writing about me, son. Of course I'm going to buy them to see what they're saying. One was that man I got last night and told him to get away from my home. So he went away. What was that, Lena? Who was at your door last night? You know, what they're also saying in the paper here is Naomi Long's coming along and saying it's, you know, it's agitating the neighbours, you know, coming up and disturbing their neighbours. Well, Naomi Long, the decisions that you and others are making up in Stormont is affecting the whole country. It's affecting every man and woman. And how many kids has it affected? You talk that you're up to protect the women but yet and the children, but yet you're allowing paedophiles to come and stay in people's communities without allowing them to know that these people are in their communities. How many of them live around near you, Naomi Long? How many have you allowed to live in and around that area? And I'll not mention the area where you live because it's neither here nor there. I know where your office is. That's the main thing to me. And it's not even like that you're in your office, but the point being, you should be in your office because that's where you're supposed to be so people can come and have consultations with you. Because you're supposed to speak for the people, not the globalist agendas, not Sinn Féin. Stop speaking for Sinn Féin. You never do your own thing. And considering you were raised, Newton Arch Road, and how you've completely turned your back on the people of the Newton Arch Road. I don't understand why that is. Do you not like the people of the Newton Arch Road? Why would you be like that? And these are just questions for you, Naomi. You're not having a go at you. Because you won't come out of your house to speak to the people. You won't go to your office to speak to people. And you just won't have dialogue with people. What you want to do is just go up in the Stormont and say what you think you can say. Now, Naomi Long, let me remind you of your false representation. Back when the COVID pass came out, I have you recorded in video, that you stood up and says that your party will support the COVID pass, just like the Sinners, just like SDLP done, that you will support the COVID pass, but you won't be held accountable. Those were the words out of your mouth, and I've got it on video. It's probably on your wee YouTube channel page as well, with the Stormont and your plenary sessions that you do. But those were your exact words, Naomi, and that is a false representation. So how the fuck do you get back into power after that false representation back then is over my head? Now I understand, Naomi, that you never mentioned me in the paper that you're saying concern about your neighbours, but my concern is about the people of this country. My concern is about the young girls that have to walk about the streets with these early dark nights coming back in and all kinds of foul predators walking about East Belfast. Some of them maybe even live in caravans around East Belfast. So this is what needs to be addressed. You talk about the protection of women, but our women are getting raped, our women are getting stalked. You talk about the protection of our kids. Well, what about the education authority that want to teach our kids all about Islam in schools? Sex education at the age of 12, is that something you support, Naomi Long? Let's just remember, you're still sitting in false representation. Malfeasance in a public office, that's something that goes a long way with me. Yeah. COPE, concerned observers protecting everybody. Yeah, it's just a new Phoebe. Your name there, Jeffrey. Concerned observers protecting everybody. Maybe that's what COPE should stand for. Did you see the praise in that one, Jeffrey? I don't think it was that dear, to be honest with you. Yeah, £1.60. That's 180 in euros, in case anybody wants the conversion rate. So yeah, just sit and have a look through this. I mean, it is the head of stupidity. It's just, it's laundering for money. I mean, let's talk about it. Allison Morris, you're talking in here about they're using these things for, you know, to promote TikTok and themselves, and, you know, talking about the disinformation it puts about, you know. Again, let's face it, I mean, you're putting this story in the paper to get yourself recognised. You're putting your comments, Allison Morris, in the Belfast Telegraph, and it's just to get people to buy the Telegraph, to get people to read the Telegraph. It's as much as a fucking grifting job as what you think all these TikTokers and citizen journalists are doing. But here's the thing. These people are reporting on the scene, whereas you're sifting through some backlog catalogues of individuals, what you call as far right, and trying to do hit pieces on them. You're not the sharpest of tools, are you? I mean, it doesn't really take much for anybody to do research into your criminal past, does it? So, yeah, tomorrow, folks, back up that chimney corner because it's housing undocumented, unvetted, fighting age, dangerous bastards, and it needs to be addressed. So, yeah, I will keep calling for that. My issue's not with immigration. Immigration's been happening for the last 20 years. We've been fucking banned out of their kebab shops, their Chineses. I mean, when's the last time a Chinese woman came out on the street and started saying you have to worship my emperor or I'm going to cut your head off? You have to worship my God or you're going to be persecuted. Any of the Chinese do that? Any of the Polish do that? No, not at all. And we want to talk about moderate Muslims and stuff in our country. Well, if they're coming here to get away from Islam in their own countries, why are they not out on the streets with us to protest against the open borders that's allowing these Islamists to come to this country and put us under threat? Walk about the streets and saying chants from the river to the sea, that's calling for a genocide, and that's okay. But yet if I come on a video asking people to call their politicians' offices, not a fuck given, nothing said, you know, it's all slander against me. But these are nut jobs from the river to the sea, and you, Allison Moore, say nothing about it. You, Naomi Long, say nothing about it. You only want to come out and ridicule your own people. And here's the thing, folks, the growing numbers of protests on the left that just keep talking about, yeah, that's the invaders. That's the ones invading our country, are coming and join toe-to-toe with these left-brained headers that want to support another country, people from another country. So here's the thing, now that there seems to be a wee peace deal, and it won't last long, that's my personal opinion, a peace deal in the Middle East. Let's see what happens there. Really going to get rid of Hamas? Well, sure, it's like they had the Good Friday appeasement here, isn't it? They get rid of the IRA, the provisional IRA, didn't they? They get rid of those ones that run about killing innocent citizens in this country. It went from bombing buildings, British buildings, to attacking the citizens. And when you want to go off and talk about the loyalists here in Northern Ireland, well, were we not protecting themselves? Were they not protecting themselves all over the years? You know, because we lived together for a long time until the provisional IRA started up in 1969. Even though the real IRA were blowing buildings up down south, Protestants and Catholics still lived together. So that's something you need to address too. So, again, Allison Morris, you're quickly making yourself a bit of an enemy of the people just by the shit that you're talking here. You know, if you want to really have a chat and talk about anything, your past, I'm all ears, because I've got ears to hear and eyes to see. And I see what you're all doing here with your media reports, even the one you've done last week, and the Belfast Telegraph. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, because slander and defamation is right up my fucking street. Right up my street. Keep them coming. Denmark Street last night. That's where he was. Who was that? Alright, so you had a foreigner outside your house last night, right? But this is the thing, I mean, I've seen videos, pictures there as well, coming out that they're checking cars. They're not about checking cars, they're in and out of people's gardens, folks. But this is okay, and the police don't get there in time and there's nothing they can do because they were just in your garden. You know, you have a right to protect your home, and it's an old English law, and your garden is part of your home. Just remember that. So, while these people still creep and prowl our streets, the left-sided, left-brained media and the left-brained Allison Morris and Naomi Long and all these people are just going to keep coming out with this silly rhetoric that we're being insightful, we're being violent. What violence? There is no violence. The only violence in this country is coming from Stormont, and yous are domestically abusing the people of Ulster. And that's how yous are going to continue your ploy of your globalist agenda, carrying out the WEF, the WHO, the EU, the UN. We don't want these organisations here. We don't want this foreign diktat bureaucracy coming anywhere near our lands. So, yeah. I'm not an agitator. I'm just calling for the people to stand up against this corrupt, tyrannical government. Allison. And like I said, Naomi Long stood up, says she'll support the COVID pass, but her party won't be held accountable. That's a false representation. False representation. And again, Allison, your past isn't squeaky clean. So maybe you should just back off a wee bit, because you're a woman. And these jihadis that are being housed up in our hotels, they don't like you. They don't like women. They have no respect for women. You want to bring these people from a third world country and treat women like garbage, like rubbish, like a piece of meat to do as they will, but you're quite happy for them all to come and be housed up in our hotels. And yeah, I keep calling for protests. That's who I am. What about it? And what? So what? Everybody get out, peaceful protest. This corrupt, tyrannical establishment. It's a prescribed organisation. It's not a government. It's a prescribed organisation. These people think they can put suits on and be protected by the people in the shadows. Nah, it's not going to happen. What you need to understand is that without the people, you don't exist. What's my mission? To pull the people away from your fake, de facto ideology. That's what I'm doing. Oh, you know me. I just like to expose corruption and fraud. No matter whether it's a judicial system, Stormont, the City Hall, I'll just keep doing it because that's who I am. Like I say, now I know how Jesus felt when he was exposing the money changers, and now you're all going to see the way to come after me. Nah, the provisionals have never gone away. That's why the people in West Belfast can't come out and protest, because they're not allowed. You're still under that bit of threat, the rule of thumb that comes with certain communities. Get raising Samantha. And anyway, I have a couple of gates to build. I have a step to tail. I have a wee porch to paint up here, you know, because that's what I do. That's the beauty of what I do. I can sit and take 20 minutes to do a wee video, just to run over what these people are saying here, you know. And again, they're pointing out that it's mostly Protestants, not all Protestants, but it's mostly Protestants, you know. And let's address that there. Why is it the Protestants are coming out to try and stand up and fight and protect everyone? That includes the Northern Irish also. Me, myself included, I have no shame to admit that I'm coming out and I'm doing what I do for everyone in this province, not just a few. And that's who we are, you know. Protesters, Protestants, protesters. Learn your history. Know who we are and why we're doing this now. I find it pretty ironic that it's the Protestants petitioning the king, that it's the Protestants that want to go after the king. I thought that would have been Michelle O'Neill's job. Oh, that's right, she's happy with their wages. She's happy with their money. So why would she protest or petition the king? I'll leave that one with you, folks. God bless. The king that they work for is not my king. I have one king. It's the king that sits in the throne above. That's my king. Not the fucking tyrannical Muslim king that they all work for and take money for in their wage. Goodbye, folks. God bless.